Hi, welcome to MoCDA Talk Series. We're going to be streaming live with Fanny Lakoubay from the CADAF team, the Contemporary and Digital Art Fair. We're answering the question, what is CADAF Online? Devoted to supporting the global communities of galleries, artists and collectors, CADAF is launching CADAF Online, a virtual art fair to be held online in June 2020. CADAF is also determined to challenge the status quo caused by COVID-19 with this innovative event and will host the physical editions of the Digital Art Fair later this year. Enjoy the talk.
Hello. Okay, we're connected. How are you? Nice to
I'm
see you.
good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Okay. I never really like the little thingy, but I
Oh
guess
yeah,
it's fine.
I don't have my headset on.
Yeah.
Actually, for people watching, if you have any issue with the audio, please flag it to us, and we'll make sure we'll fix it. But yes, thank you, Fanny, for joining me
No,
on this live. It's really great to see you. I've been missing you a lot.
I know. I
You
was
all
supposed
need
to
to
be
know
in
that.
Europe this
Yes.
this month, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm very fond of Fanny and the work that she does. She's simply great. Okay, so we're here today to talk about CADAF. So CADAF is a digital contemporary art fair which will be going fully online, yes, for this
Yeah.
season of CADAF. So we're here to answer any question you may have about the fair, how to apply, and also visit the fair. If you're an artist or gallery, or if you would like just to come and enjoy the art we're going to see at CADAF. So from Fanny, do you want to give us a little introduction about what CADAF is and how the project started and where you're at now?
Sure. Yeah. So it's I'll try to not make it too long of a story. But I think something that people might not know is that CADAF is actually the same company as New Art Academy, and this is how Elena Zavelet started it, and that Andrea and I, and then many other people joined. Was a company that was meant to educate and talk about technology to art market professionals. And it started with like small panels and then full-blown conferences. And then Andrea is going to kill me to tell that story, but one day she called me and she's like, "Oh my God, I have something to tell you. I have something to tell you." And I'm like, "Oh my God, she's pregnant." And I'm like, "So should we meet at a coffee shop or at a bar?" And she's like, "A bar." And I was like, "She's not pregnant." Okay, so and the baby was actually CADAF. He was like, "Let's do an art fair." And when you think about it, the only difference between a conference and an art fair is really the transactional aspect, because at a conference you can show artworks, you can like have like talks and panels and things, but really like an art fair is a like a commercial enterprise, and at the end of the day, if you want to build a market, which we really do want to build market around digital art, is what you have to do to support the actors of the space, like the galleries representing digital artists, independent artists who don't have representation, and art and tech companies who do want to, showcase the new solutions. So yeah, so this is kind of it came about, and this like crazy idea now has had like two editions, two art fairs, like two physical art fairs. So the idea was also to keep a very classic model of an art fair, but to present only digital art, and it's also a response from us going to many contemporary art fair and always seeing like a tiny piece of video art or like one digital art gallery among like a million other galleries, and to display videos and projections, and you need like some special conditions, and at big art fairs, like you always have this bright, it's like you don't really see well, like it's always in the corner, You have the headset, it's not convenient, etc. So so that was one goal of CADAF, was to make like the conditions better, and like, you know, the art fairs like being blocked out and dark, and really made for showcasing this. And we've worked, so there was an edition in New York in May last year, the same time as Freeze New York and TEFAF. And then in December, we were in Miami at the same time as Art Basel and all the fairs in Miami in December. And then we're supposed to be in Paris next month, or in June, actually, in 2 months. And then COVID-19 happened, and we're like, oh shit, this ain't happening. This is not gonna happen. But I think it's, you know, people are like, oh, you reacted really like fast, and this is great, and this is so courageous. But I think it was also like a some sort of like keeping us sane mentally, to say like, we're not canceling, like we are going to find a solution to make it happen, to also like, you know, not fall into depression ourselves. So it might be courageous, but it's also like very selfish.
Yeah, I think it's very much needed, especially now, to be in support of artists and the whole art industry, and find solutions that may be also adopted after the crisis of COVID-19. So I think what we are currently experiencing is a huge shift towards something that is even more digital, and getting communities more, you know, to create these accessible way of entering art. Because we all have a device, and in most countries now the internet is good enough to be browsing art online. So I think a question that most people would have is, how are you envisioning CADAF Online? What's going to be like?
Well, it's I mean, just to bounce on what you said as well, is we're not seeing like a virtual art fair just as a response to like the current crisis, and say, until we can go back to something else, like let's do this temporary thing. I think as we've seen, like, you know, before, it's like, it's always the times where there's difficulties and challenges that like push people to be more creative, and that like new things come from, you know, a crisis. So I think this is how we're seeing this crisis. And I mean, and I don't want to call it a crisis for the art market. It's an opportunity to you know, go forward with a change in technology that has been going on for decades, right? Like since ArtNet came online, and now we're obliged, in a sense, to go with the flow and make technology not an afterthought, because we had all these physical events that were possible. And yeah, it was nice to have a website, but, you know, like not really. You know, can have my assistant do that and forget about it. Now it's the only way right now, and going forward, I'm really hoping that this is also allowing us to think about more sustainable ways to showcase art online. Because when you think about it, the way we've been showing art online hasn't changed since ArtNet came online in like the 90s. So so this is something that we can really focus on and find new ways to do it, without saying, oh, let's just get rid of everything that's been done, but like iterate on what we have, what we you know, like, and make something better. So so we've yeah, so CADAF Online is gonna happen in June. Ooh la la. Yeah, you're better than me. I was like, I don't know how to show images
back on the screen. So if anyone is interested, here's where you find the dates as well.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like June. So it's a little later than, like, to full disclaimer, than Paris was supposed to be June 11th, but so this is still in June, so that's our achievement. But we also wanted to align with other contemporary art projects that are happening online towards the end of June. There is Art Basel that is doing something the weekend before June 25th. And there are a lot of auction houses also hosting online contemporary art sales. So this is really becoming like that last week of June is really becoming the contemporary art week of the summer. So here it is. I called it. This is it. I branded it. Now it's a real thing.
That's so good to know that CADAF is actually going to happen around those dates. And I have a feeling that everyone is very much looking forward for having the possibility of still being able to participate to all those events from, you know, from their living room, essentially. So
yeah, and the beauty is that there are going to be like many different events, right? And it's the same, if you think about it, it's a little bit like like the satellite fairs and events that are happening around Art Basel, and we're recreating sort of a you know, art fair week, and even not art fair, like art market you know, week. So so in a sense, I mean, I feel this is like really nice because it's getting a little bit of hype, and this is something that we're and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, during the talk. But it's we're really trying to see how events, online events, can be synchronous, and that you get a real reason to go on a website or to go somewhere because other people are going, because something is happening. So you don't end up on a website by yourself, you know, just looking at artworks that might have been there before, like yesterday, and then tomorrow, then there's no real reason to see it now. So that's something like the social interaction, the social tech, and the synchronous elements are gonna be important, and yeah, like even more than ever. So
yeah, absolutely. And I very much like the idea that we can somehow recreate what we would normally do in gatherings online and still feel that proximity, you know, among people while browsing at a work of art, for example, and still have that experience shared in a group rather than having a more an experience by yourself. So I think that is very meaningful when thinking about moving things online.
yeah,
So,
and
but
it's very interesting when someone made a comment that I never thought about, but when you are in a 3D world, you know, like a virtual reality visit of a museum, like it's very lonely because you're by yourself, and it really feels like you know, like robbed or like stole the keys to the museum and went there at night,
just
and
having a
like it's,
private visit.
yeah, and it's very isolating, and even more when you're stuck at home, like, you know, like you don't want to be stuck alone in a museum. So
I mean,
and
I
I
have to say, it can be nice sometimes to go on a private view when the museum is not crowded. I've experienced that, and I've enjoyed it. But in a way, it is nice to go with your friends and share your opinions about what you're saying. Actually, on that point, we have a question here. Can you see the questions and comments on the screen?
Yes, but I'm not a very good multitasker, so you might have
Okay,
to.
no, that's fine. I will read it out for you. So very exciting for CADAF. Can you talk about ways to make such things more interactive where viewers can communicate with each other too?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So I think we can go back to like what CADAF Online is gonna be, and answer some of these questions, because so we've partnered with actually, Joe, this is going to be interesting for you because it's we partnered with AJ and Matt from Dot Gallery, whom I met at a blockchain. I mean, they're from the blockchain side of things, and we met at I mean, we talked first about their art project and art platform at East Berlin Hackathon last summer, where they developed a prototype. They won one of the prizes of the hackathon for it, actually. And it was a new way to show crypto art online. So it was purely digital, purely blockchain based, and to showcase you know, artists and artworks in a slightly different way than the ArtNet like way, like that I call. I mean, it's all of them, like it's artsy, you know, and you have just 2D image, the description, and that's it. So so they kind of they did that. They did a prototype for Berlin Art Week last summer, but then went on to other projects because, as I said at that time, like the investigating new ways to show art was a little of an afterthought. If you had a website functioning with like a very simple template, fine, that was enough. And then COVID-19 happened. Matt was in New York at that time, so we had coffee before they blocked everything down. And we talked about like partnering with them and taking what they had done as a prototype and develop it further on non-blockchain manner to finalize a platform that would work for CADAF Online in June. I mean, and we talked about like that, like maybe now it's been like a month ago. So we're talking about very, very short time frame to make something happen. And we talked with other developers and other agencies, and it's like absolutely impossible for anybody else to make that happen. So really kudos to AJ and Matt for co-developing that with us. So so how it will look like? I mean, Serena, I think you have like a few image. I don't know if.
I don't have them here.
Wait, how can I show an image? Yeah.
I can maybe try and show them on my screen on my laptop, but while we try and find some image to show
Yeah, it's
you.
fine. It's fine. I mean, we can share them like anyway after. Oh, did I add myself a little thing?
You've got something on your head now, Fanny.
Go away! No. Sorry.
That's fine. That's cute.
Anyway, sorry for this interruption by a Pokemon. So there are a few ways that we are reproducing this like interactive things during CADAF Online. So we are not doing anything virtual or 3D because we feel that like anything that will try to replicate a real environment is gonna be lacking or like lacking something or too gimmicky to really function, and really taking the elements that we that are important to us at an art fair and trying to find like the digital native solution to make that online. So for example, when you go to an art fair, you like to know that you're not by yourself and that there are other people also you know, and that you see them at the fair. So so our way is gonna have a chat where you can see other people who are in the event with you, and there are going to be announcements and chat between people and general conversations happening. So that's the first
So
thing.
let's say that when you are in the same room or browsing the same gallery booth, you would know that others are there, and you can make conversations with those people.
Yes, but I was actually talking about even the general like art fair like space. So if you're like on the landing page, show as well featured booths. So the same way you would like, you know, have the first booth in front of you when you enter an art fair, we are going to show like case like featured booth if you're just browsing and you just want to like look around.
Okay. I just received now some pictures from the lovely Andrea that forwarded them to me, so I'm gonna pull them on the screen and I'm gonna show you what it's gonna look like, and then maybe you, Fanny, can describe what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's easier with
Thank you so much, Andrea. And I also wanted to address one question that we had earlier on, which is about whether the works that we're going to have at CADAF will be tokenized and sold on the blockchain. You might have mentioned this earlier, but yes, we haven't actually, but that's a good question. And then I'm going to pull a few images on the screen.
Yeah. So for the tokenization, like not in this short time frame. I think this is like we're we're going to have probably later, this is definitely something we want to re-add, like functionality wise. At this point, the main call to action is going to be for people to chat with the gallerist or the artist who is exhibiting works at the fair. And then they decide together how they want it. So for example, if the artist is showing an artwork that is tokenized and the person wants to have the token, then it's a discussion and a transaction that happens directly between the collector and the artist or the gallery. So we're giving like right now like just full liberty to galleries and artists to do and handle the transaction. We are not, as an art fair, taking any commission fee. The only fee that is present is the rental of the booth, and same way you would have it at an art fair. A gallery like pays for like having a booth with 3 walls or something, and so this is the same for like virtual booths. And the main difference with traditional art fairs is that we work both with galleries. We will have like one price for like a booth with 25 artworks, and one price much lower for artists, independent artists, who will have access to showcase 9 works. And we do also, we are discussing right now to partner with other art fairs or auction houses who want to showcase like previews of their work, because I think both, it's not just like people are like, oh, this is great because it gives some like other actors of the art market like a way to collaborate during these like challenging times, but we've always worked like that. I think this is kind of what made us start also like something in more the art and tech side, is that we do talk with people. And Serena, for example, like has like MoCDA is part of the curatorial board of CADAF to select the artists and the galleries along with a Lumen prize, and we're talking to many other art fairs to have them either have a booth or a dedicated section that you could go visit, similarly to like an art fair that has multiple buildings or partners.
Something I wanted to maybe mention about the question on the blockchain is that you also have a sponsor area. So in case anyone is interested to learn more about technologies and how that you would have, you could also go and approach one of the sponsor and learn more about. I'm thinking, for example, about Artery and services that can support you with the tokenization. Okay, wonderful. There's a few more questions here. So one is about the rental of the booth and the cost, and one is about the panels and the talks. So as I'm showing here on the back of the screen, you can see how CADAF is going to look like. So this is just to give you a sense of what you could expect from the fair. And then Fanny, if you want to tell us about the events and the talks and also the cost.
Of course. So if you go back to the other image, you have like one part of the screen. So, and to tell you like what we show you like right now are like wireframes. This is evolving. Like we're getting a lot of feedback. Like now they're featured galleries on the top. So you're not seeing the exact thing that's gonna happen. It's gonna be much better, but it's a good visual support to understand what I'm talking about, because also I'm French and I'm not very articulate, so so stop now. But to go back to the talks, one thing that we've always attached a very high it's always been very important to us to have an educational component to the art fairs. And this is not at all an afterthought. This is why it's actually pretty much like top on the screen. I mean, on the top of the screen, there is going to be live streamed contents and panels happening. And so this is kind of, Joe, like part of your question on how to communicate, is that like you're going to see that something is happening when you join the page. We're probably going to do like, I mean, we're still looking at like incorporating like recorded content, but the goal is to also have like an event, like a continuous event, so that we reach all the time zones, because it's not because I go to sleep that like nobody else can go and enjoy the fair and other content. So that's something that we can do with
it's going to be like a
technology.
24 hours day-long exhibition.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't close. So so the content should also continue. So this is going to be exciting, and so we Elena is always very keen and very very good at putting together like panels, and we're going to cover like many subjects from blockchain, AI, latest trends. Obviously, like we never want to repeat what we've done before. So for that, Elena is very good because she gets bored very easily. So we'll never get bored. Like, and you will never get bored neither. So believe me, that's
There's
gonna
a great
be like
team behind CADAF, so I'm sure we will have great content.
yeah, no, definitely, and you will not hear from us. You will hear from partners and people who know stuff. So and then if we, after the talk, to go talk about more like the virtual booth, we will have like a virtual floor plan. So obviously we don't have to recreate something like clunky and like with like very complicated like things, because we're not talking about a map. I mean, there's a lot of conferences now online that like, oh, if you go back.
Oh, I'll go back. Okay, so
Go back. I was talking about the bubble.
Okay.
So the floor map, like the floor plan, will really show you like all the virtual booths, color coded for sections, if it's a gallery or an artist that is exhibiting. Sponsors and partners and media are also going to have their virtual booth. So it's a new way if you want like to actually advertise online with a bit more like organic content, because as the same as an art fair, like where partners and media sponsors have a booth at the fair around like the exhibitors, this is going to be the same but in a virtual way. And then on the, you can either like go around and go from bubble to bubble.
Okay.
There's gonna be a fun like ways to like pop the bubbles type of thing, like gamifying a little bit. And or like if you know what gallery you wanna visit, like you always have the way to search for it, the list, like display more traditional ways to access content. And then when you click on the bubble, you enter the virtual booth, and this is if you go to the next
Okay.
slide that
I'll show you
had.
what I've got here. You tell me if I'm on the right slide.
No, the next one. The next one.
This one?
Yeah, this one. Perfect.
Brilliant. Okay.
So then this is gonna be where there's gonna be like this is gonna be like what the virtual booths look like, and with like when you arrive, details on the gallery or the artist in the middle, and then a chat that you have. Oh no, just go back. Stay on that. Yeah.
I'll move on to the other one when you tell me so.
Yeah. You're too much in a hurry. You can't follow. You can't
No, I don't know,
fast
because
enough.
I have all these beautiful colored bubbles, and I'm so eager just to press on them. I'm sure.
To pop them. I know. This is exciting. So this is where like you can see like all the little artworks on the top left corner. They're like a preview of all the artworks that the gallery is showing, and a chat that is like kind of people who are in that booth. So you can see other people who are in the gallery at the same time, and this is all uploaded and managed by the gallery. So they can upload like all their information. It's going to be a very simple like upload mode for now, but this is all like moderated by the gallery or the artist. And if you go to the next one, you can see what an artwork detail look like. So on the right side, you can pretty much add any like the artist or the gallery who owns the booth can add like all the details of the work, even, and it's a rich media field. So you can embed a video, you can embed a recording of you talking about the artwork, other images, like other things that you think are relevant, really telling the story of this artwork. So the goal is to really like be able to like retrace a little bit more like the story behind, because you know, one thing that we always focused on physical events before, because it's very important to tell the story behind the work and behind an artist, especially for digital artwork. So we're trying with this new like way to give the option to the artist to tell that story in a bit more rich way. And then the same way as you would be like you know, in a booth at an art fair, you can have conversation with people next to you, or you know, who are looking at the same piece. But you can also chat one-on-one with the gallerist. So in a private chat with the gallerist or the artist, if you're interested in the work, because of course you don't want to have that conversation with the person next to you, and discuss like the work and the transaction. So you can also do a few other things. You can share the work on social media. You can see it with a dark background. You can, you know, push aside the details to see it full screen, and you can save it in your like imaginary collection if it's too expensive for you to afford, and or if you're not sure. So this is kind of going to be like, you know, this is an example for a gallery, but if you think about it for an artist, it's the same like structure pretty much. A gallery booth is going to have 25 artworks that you can show with all the features I mentioned, and the price for a gallery is $1,000 for all that I mentioned, and having access to full content on these 25 artworks. For an independent artist, it is $200 for 9 artworks to be shown. So of course, if you need more artworks to be shown, we can, you know, like there's, you know, possibility to add more artworks, and yeah. So obviously it's quite new, so we're also like, you know, planning on being having everybody on call to help like for the uploading and all of that. But it's definitely a challenge, but we're surprisingly on time for all of that to happen and development. So yeah, that's pretty much.
It looks very exciting. We have a question here. So somebody's asking, do the art exhibitions have an interactive feature?
What do you mean? Like in terms of like if the art is a video or something like that, or?
I'm not sure. That's the question. Do the art exhibitions have an interactive feature? So I suppose it's what can you actually do with what you see here in the main space where the artwork will be exhibited. So you said we can share it on social media, and I suppose for interactive, I'm thinking if the work, for example, is a 3D work, can you interact with it, or how would that? I'm just guessing the question, but
no, thank you for like it's yeah. So I mean a few things. So the types of artworks that are handled or that are you know, that can be showed, or like either JPEGs, GIFs, videos that will start playing when you land on an artwork. VR and AR, we are like currently talking. It's a stretch for June, to be honest with you, to know exactly how to best present them. So we are talking to VR and AR artists right now with our developers to see what the best solution that we have for that. So we'll publish that definitely. And in terms of interactions, I mean, if it's a physical work, because as I mentioned, like, so we're CADAF is a digital art fair, but we do like some pieces are you know, AR activated prints. They have a physical component to it, and you know, like we've always like pushed the art and tech art, like digital art, as in like has a link to digital. So it can happen that this is a print that you can hang on your wall. So we're adding like a viewing context option so that you can see for the physical pieces like how it would fit in your environment. We are not doing that for videos and digital piece, because this is actually quite irrelevant. I mean, even if you can print it, this really depends on the artist and how they would want it to be shown. So we don't want to take the risk to display it in a way that would not be accurate to the artist's intention. So this is one thing, one stretch, and one thing that AJ and Matt are working day and night on is to make the mobile experience happen. So if it happens, or if it happens after June, they are trying to link it to the AR function of the iPhones, so that you can see the work in the environment in kind of a, you know, like a, I don't even know, like, but little like Star Wars way, like that it just shows up.
It will do some magic.
Just magic. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. So this is kind of linking interactive functions to the phone, you know, like options. But again, mobile is I don't want to say, but we'll see if it happens or not. Yeah, so and any other idea, please let us know. I mean, this is literally like a proof of concept. So we're trying to do something that is interactive, where you can have interaction with real humans, when you can see the work in a very sleek and easy way, and where you can like learn things like with the talks and the panels and but again, I mean, this is literally us trying to make it like happen, and we are lucky to have amazing advisors and friends giving feedback from the tech world, from the art world, from the blockchain world, from you know, like Eleonora put together like last weekend a 3D exhibition in CryptoVoxel, so it's like very out there. There's a lot of like amazing advanced 3D worlds, etc. But we also are trying to get the best out of these worlds and make it a realistic experience for people who are absolutely not used to technology or advanced, you know, 3D experience or so on. So we're trying to.
It is really a key word in the work you're currently putting together, making it accessible to all different levels. Okay, there's a few more questions. So actually, Leonora is asking, what are the transactions from collector to gallery going to happen? Depends on the gallery's marketplace. So what are the transactions from collector to gallery going to happen? Depends on the gallery's marketplace.
Yeah, it is. So if it's up to the gallery. So this is gonna be like this is something that first we can't make happen, like to have a transactional platform for June. And second, we actually do not want to deal with like transaction. Like in this case, you know, and especially based on the previous art fairs, like there was also like every gallery has already their transactional platform set up. So we're more acting as connectors and as like exhibitors of the works during this like weekend, where everybody is here, and we're creating the event to match all of these people together. But the gallery or the artist is deciding on that. Also, it came from the fact that, like, you know, you had the question on the blockchain based work, and this is something that there's so many different use cases, and that the beauty of digital art, it's not one thing. It's like you have crypto, like NFTs, you have VR experiences, you have video art, and it's like you have to let people like give people the freedom of handling all of these use cases. So the best was to just not get involved and let that happen. So I forgot the question, but I think I answered it.
Yes, you did. There's another one for you, Fanny. So while more people join us, and actually I wanted to give a wave to Elena, who I saw her joining us, and thank her for the work that she's been putting alongside the team, everyone at CADAF, on this amazing project. So yes, there's a question about how many galleries will be there, just to get a sense of the scale. I know the applications are still open, so you guys still have time. Actually, let me put that one back on to apply. So if you wish, both artists and galleries can send applications through for CADAF, which is happening end of June. So here you go. But yes, do you have, can you give us some insight about galleries that will be attending and about the scale?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of online is first that there is no limit, right? It's not like an art fair like in Miami where you have 10 booths and that's it. Like you have to restrict it to that number.
To the space, yes.
With the space, it can really like grow and scale up, which is really nice. Even having like separate sections for our partners if they want to have their own, like exhibition and curatorial side, like we can also do that on a separate floor map. For CADAF specifically, like this is where the applications are still under review with Lumen Price and Serena. So there's like we're not aiming. I mean, this is kind of where from 10 to 50 would be like great, but this is kind of where like there is still a lot of like things that are moving because there's like there's no goal to be very frank with you because we also need to see how many artists apply. There are quite a lot who applied to CADAF Paris already and who are now like going to show at CADAF Online. We will have sections with partners and other exhibitors. So there are possibility for auction houses to actually show preview of the work that they have for sale for upcoming auctions. Same thing with other fairs. So that's also gonna be like kind of on the floor plan, but like separate. So and it's, to be honest, it's very much like a living organism because it's like where you've seen the bubbles, like they're not gonna look like that, but like how are they gonna be color coded? Like how are they gonna be like clustered together? Like is evolving every day based on the number that we have and the partners that we're having, like getting and so on. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. There's lots of questions coming. So if you can tell us a bit more about the Star Wars part that you discussed earlier and on that topic.
I think this is
anyone who joined us today, we were trying to imagine what would it look like, the navigation on mobile, and Fanny had these beautiful expressions of describing it as a Star Wars happening on your phone. So we do have interesting about, is there any exhibition gallery dedicated to children?
Oh my God! I'm so glad you're asking. Like, who is asking? Sam. Oh my God! This is such a good question. We talked about that several times because my daughter, who's 7-year-old, helped at all the CADAF. First, she was a bouncer in New York, and then she helped, in Miami and so on. So she asked first that question, and she was like,
she wants
"Can
to be
I show
involved?"
something?"
Because I know she wants to be part of the
of
the fun.
So we're actually like now talking with the Children's Museum of Art of New York to do something like an open call for children, and even if it doesn't happen with them, it will happen. because we also had one of the son of an artist in Miami who was an amazing video artist. And so there is definitely going to be at least one booth for kids to show their artworks, and a separate open call for kids to apply. So
oh, that's fantastic
yeah.
to hear. I wasn't
Oh yeah,
aware of
no.
that. That's beautiful.
Well,
That's
yeah, no,
like a dream fair for children.
it's fun, and it's actually like, much, I mean, and they are so advanced. I mean, I tried this pixelchain.art. It's a new way to like do artworks, like do NFTs with like pixels, and you can just color pixels. And my daughter made one, and I was like, oh, what is it? And she's like, Mom, it's abstract. Like, why are you even asking? And I'm like, oh, so sorry. And
You
yeah,
don't understand it.
no, and now it's on OpenSea, like the blockchain-based marketplace, and she's so happy to have her storefront on OpenSea. So it's
Oh,
yeah,
that's super cool. Okay, that's great. Okay, a few more questions. Actually, there was one which links to what you said previously. How many individual artists will be accepted as an estimate?
there's no like I mean, there's no estimate like that I can really give. It's not one. It's like it's gonna be like more in the like
But what we can say is
tens
that
and
the MoCDA and Lumen Prize will be collaborating
yeah,
together
yeah,
towards having a selection of artists from the applications and bringing a curated exhibition to CADAF,
yeah,
presentation of
and
artists. So I do encourage everyone to apply because I feel this is a tremendously good opportunity for having the work, not just for visibility, but also to be part of an exceptional event that will take place online. And I think that especially now during what we're living, it will bring people together in a more meaningful way. So if you do have any question, please feel free to reach out to MoCDA and
yeah.
CADAF and Lumen Prize, and we'll be happy to tell you more about the project. And I'm gonna share again the map because I haven't shared this one or that one. No, I've actually
No, I mean,
shared that one.
and to tell you, like, in the previous fairs, we had in Miami, we had 120 artists participating. So this is, even if it's not like a booth gives the artist like a lot of visibility, right? Like you're on the map the same way
Mm-hmm.
as a gallery. Like we're also gonna do like thematic sections, and maybe showing just one artwork if you can't afford like a full booth within a thematic from like a type of medium, art medium, or a geographic region or something like that. So there are like it's very flexible and agile environment to accommodate all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So. Um,
Fantastic. The reason why I pulled this screen again on is because there was a question about how and when will it be possible to interact with galleries and artists, possibly to make appointments like calendar management.
mhm. So this is where, like, when you are in a booth, you can interact one-on-one with the artist or the gallerist, and then like make the like appointments with them directly. I think this is kind of where like we'll have to test and see. Like, I don't think we will have any integration with Calendly or like any like calendar. This is kind of, you can leave a message if it's not on the same time zone as the galleries is actually in bed, and regroup together. So this is something that, yeah, it's pretty new. So we're gonna do that. I think the only thing like integration with calendar is gonna be like to save the talks and like in the agenda if you want to save something to your calendar. Like, yes, that's pretty basic, but
Okay.
but feasible. So
And we've
so yeah,
already
time zone is
sort
gonna
of,
be fun.
yeah.
Like time zones is gonna be like I mean, we're not gonna sleep, so we encourage any other exhibitor to not sleep neither. It's
Just
what is
eat art and sleep with art in your eyes.
yeah,
Wide open. Okay, so there's a very cool question from Eleonora asking, what do you think CADAF has that any other fair does not have?
Well, I mean, I think this is kind of where like we've never really, I mean, right now there is no other like fully online fair, right? Like, I mean, either art fairs are postponing their fair or like doing like some sort of previews, but we're really trying to recreate the entire event online, which is, I think, very unique for now, and also why we can also partner with other fairs. So I think that's very unique way of like collaborating and showing different things online at the same time. So I think that makes us like very, I mean, unique. I hate that word, but it's very interesting, and also like the interactive aspect, like the fact that like you can actually interact with people and like show share interest and see other people participating to the same event. I think this like social tech is a big focus of ours, and yeah, and Eleonora says
You're a native of digital. You
digital,
had
yeah.
an intuition and you were proved right. It is unique.
It is unique, yeah, no, and yeah, and it's very much, I mean, it's an experiment. So I think like I really hope that people join in that sense, and really come with us on the journey, because it's not going to be perfect. I mean, it's we're making everything and testing everything so that first it doesn't crash like it did for a few other events that I will not name, but that it's all sleek and smooth, and like that people can actually do the things that we want them to do, attend talks, talk to each other, talk to the galleries, because at the end of the day, it's the same as any other fair, is that if the galleries and the artists manage to make contacts and sell their works, this is what's gonna make it or break it. So
yeah, this is what's going to prove the fair to be a
exactly.
successful event. Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's all about the networking and the good quality of the work that you put together.
Yeah, so everything is designed in this way, and yeah, I mean, it's an experiment, so it's exciting for that and scary as shit at the same time, so it's fine.
Absolutely. I am aware we've got a few minutes left before the live is going to cut us out. Unfortunately, that's the rule of Instagram. But I just wanted to remind everyone, and if you could do that, Fanny, by sharing how people can apply for CADAF. So
Yeah,
if you're an artist and if you're a gallery, if you want to tell us again how we can apply and how we can provide more information for everyone who's interested in this.
Yeah, so if you are a gallery or an artist, you can apply at it's cadaf.art/applications, and apply. It is still open until June 1st. So please apply away. Like, I mean, this is going to be a very fun event. We are also already opened the ticketing for attendees on Eventbrite. So if you go on cadaf.art, you can already get your ticket, as in like it's a free ticket for people to participate.
Would that be valid for the talks as well and the panels?
Yeah. And like it will be like free for the viewer and the participants, and it's we're gonna limit like right now you can still I mean, we had without really advertising it, like we've had a lot of people already take their tickets on Eventbrite, so we're going to communicate a lot of things. It's going to be like still limited to a certain number, which we're trying to figure out and test right now, so that not everything crashes if like 1 million people just like show up. But for that not to happen, this is going to be like under like like there's going to be a registration page with like when you enter your email, And probably like each booth will have a limit of visitors, and then if one booth is full, well, you just go to the next one and you visit it while, you know, like same way you would do at an art fair. If there are too many people in you know, like one booth, you go to the next one and then you come back to this one. So yeah, so that's pretty much. And then,
Exciting,
you know,
yes. Let's see how everyone will behave online. That's
yeah,
super
but you know,
cool.
it's yeah, I mean, you're gonna have trolls and, you know, like people with bad comments, but what can you do?
Well,
So
what I think is that this is going to be a real fun experience for everyone. And I feel that we can be better users and better viewer and look at things in a more profound way, because we're going to be looking exclusively at art and having the social interaction as you would in real life, but perhaps having the opportunity to talk to everyone you want to, whether in the physical space. Sometimes you
yeah,
can't do that. So I feel that the online space definitely can enhance these aspects of
yeah,
behaving online. And I do hope that these can be reiterated even after the lockdown. So I'm very
yeah,
hopeful for that.
and I think we have to also remember, like, we're not robots or like avatars, right? So not everything that we do at an art fair or in physical life will be reproduced. So don't ask me to like have a virtual oyster like you would have a TEFAF opening. Like that makes absolutely no sense, right? Uh, but let's try to find ways like that it can work, like in the digital world. And I'll come back to you on this like Star Wars thing, but just
That was
like
the highlight of our talk today.
but yeah, but I do really want to give a shout out to the great team at CADAF,
Yes,
because
round of
we're
applause to
yeah, and then
everyone for
it's
putting
you
this
know,
together in
like,
such a short
yeah,
time.
yeah, and there's like Elena, there's Andrea, there's Chloe, there's Elizabeth, Juliana, who like took over the happy virtual hour, which we have one next week if you wanna also attend with Christie's, and many more. We have Jean-Baptiste from the Beaux-Arts team, and AJ and Matt from Dot Gallery, and many partners, and you, Serena, and Stina, and it's really a great team, and almost all female. Woo-hoo.
It's
So
a
I'm
great
very proud of
family
that.
and we're very proud
It's
to be
good.
part of it. And thank you everyone for joining me. I know it's 59 now, so we must say goodbye. But it's been a great pleasure having this conversation with you, Fanny. And I do hope that everyone watching found it useful. And we do hope to see you all at CADAF, whether you're an
Yeah.
artist, a gallerist, or just a visitor. Please do come and say hello. It'll be great to see you there. Okay,
All
thank you
right. Thank you,
everyone. It's been a
Serena.
pleasure. Any question, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you everyone. Take
Bye.
care. Bye. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Ciao.